We are learning Yoma Daf Chavav Amid Aleph. We're at the Mishnah. Here we go. Hapayis Hashlishi, the third lottery that was done in the Beis Hamikdash, was for the Ketores, and the announcement was made: Chadashim la Ketores bayu v'hafisu. Those that are new to the Ketores should come and join in the lottery. Rashi says, Mishal Yizachel Ketores Miyahu. Someone who has never done the Ketores can come and do it. V'kachui machrizin. Kol Bazar, they make an announcement. Chadashim Lakateris. Come and be Mephias. Okay. Varavi. The fourth lottery. Chadashim Im Yesharim. New and old can join. And what was that for? Mimala Ivar Minakevish Lamizbech. Who would bring up the limbs that were put on the kevesh, and now we're going to go onto the mizbech, from the ram to the mizbech. So the second ladder was to put it on the ram. Fourth ladder is now to bring it onto the actual mizbech. Now, a few points here. First of all, when we say chadashim im yeshanim, and we say new and old, so what exactly does that mean? Who got to participate in this fourth lottery? Did everybody? Meaning, if you already did an avodah today, can you do it again? So we have machlekes. The Dirshu brings down. We'll read it. The third piece. So the point here was that people who, even if you were part of, right, if the third one was only for Chadashim that never did the Ketores, the fourth one was for everybody. Now, what about if you already were Zeicha in a Pais that day? Can you come and be Mephias again? So the sheet of the Rimul Nil is yes. Av Isim Shazacha B'Shar Paisach Nechnas Al Pais. Va'av Yitachin Sha'isa Kain Shahalal Lakavish Yizkalal Is Mekavish Lamizbech. Even if somebody who won already in the morning and brought things onto the mizbech, he can now go and put it onto the kevish. Can now go put it onto the mizbech. That's okay. No, this is the Baz says that Misha Zeicha B'Pais Ein Yachal Iskei Shubah Avodah Netefes B'Oisayim. You get one avodah per day. Kadesh Avodah Tiyas B'Reivam. So this way you have more people doing it, and it's only on the fourth one that they said Chadashim Im Yeshanim V'Lei B'Pais Rishon V'Asheni Lefi Shachadashim Shlo Yizochu B'Kteres Me'olam Lo Hishtatu B'Pais Rishon V'Asheni B'Kdei Sheyuchlu Likanas B'Pais Shel Ketores U'La'ach Shlo Yizochu B'Kteres Hishtatu B'Kulam B'Pais Harvi. You see, if a person wanted a chance to get to the Ketores, he could not participate in the first two lotteries, because if he won, he wouldn't be able to do the third. He wouldn't be able to do the fourth. He wouldn't be able to participate in the Ketores lottery. Okay. Now, when we have this fourth pious that is done for Mimala Ivarim Minakevish Lemizbeach, so it sounds like who brings up. It's in the singular. Does that mean it's only one kohen who has an opportunity or gets to win all of them? Or is it similar to the morning one that 6 kahanim would be zeicha to bring up all the Ivarim? That seems to be a machlekes between the Ritva and Rashi. Okay, so like the more weiter. We said a Pais Ashlishi Chadashim Labek Lakateres. Bo Tana. We learned in the Brisa. Me Olam Lashana Adam Ba. Nobody repeated the Keteres. Nobody ever repeated the Keteres. That could mean, yeah, there were enough kahanim to go around that no one ever did the Ketores twice, or maybe it means nobody ever did the Ketores a second time before everybody doing it the first time. Meaning, you have to remember, there was 24 mishmaris, and each base av was divided. Each mishmar was divided into a base av. So what if your base av didn't have that many kahanim in it? I don't know, and maybe you'd be able to do it more than once. Think about it, in your lifetime. You're working, let's say, from 30 to 50. So in 20 years, the Ketores was brought. There were enough kahanim per base av. So that's it. It could mean nobody did it before everybody else did it once. Nobody did it twice before everybody else did it once. Or maybe it means that there were enough kahanim to go around that no one ever did it twice. Now, what's the issue with this? My time off, like the Gemara. Maybe you'll say, you know what? The pasuk says, "Yesimu Ketera ba'apecha." I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Amar Chanina mipnei shema asheres, because it makes you rich. All right. Rashi says, therefore we didn't let you do it twice, because once you got rich, it's good enough. I wonder if, like, historically we have that, like Kahanim were wealthy, the Kahanim did the Ketores, they just got rich. I wonder how that worked. The Kohen Gadol, by the way, who was supposed to be rich, and richer than all the other Kahanim, so he was allowed to do the Ketores more than once, and it's possible that the 7 days before the Yom Kippur, when he was doing his practice rounds, he could do the Ketores every day. Amalei Rapapa la'abai, my time. What's pshat in this? If you'll say it's because the pasuk says Yasimu Ketores ba'apecha, so the pasuk in Zayis Bracha, Yeru mishpatach Yaakov, they will teach laws to Yaakov. V'teras kol Yisrael, and your Torah to the Jewish people. Yasimu Keter ba'apecha, they will place the Ketores in your nose. V'chalil al mizbachach, and be burnt on your mizbeach. The next pasuk says Baruch Hashem Chelei, Hashem will bless his army, referring to Shevet Levi. So it says Yesimu Keter ba'apecha. Uksibasrin, right after that it says Baruch Hashem Chelei. So you see the bracha comes to the one who does the Ketores. Frankly, Amari Yachi, that's true. Then Eilanami. Haksev Khalil Amizbachach. The same pasuk says the Khalil, that which is burnt completely on your mizbech, which is like an Ayla. So if you bring an Ayla, you should also only be able to bring an Ayla once. Amalei. So Rav Abayev returned a response to Rav Papa, and he says Hashchicha v'haleshchicha. The Ayla is common. The Ketores is not common. Says Rashi. Umistabra, and it makes sense to say the hachi the chiksiv oisher ad leshchicha. The Torah is giving you a bracha of wealth, Baruch Hashem Chelai, so that's going to be on something which is not common. The imloikein into a kolashim is going to that everybody will be rich because everybody gets to bring an ayla. I mean, everybody can bring an ayla. You can be menadev an ayla. You can offer as a volunteer offering a carbon ayla, so you'll get rich. And what's so shvar? Everybody will be rich. I don't know. Says the Gemara, Amarav, you won't find a young, sharp Talmud Chacham that is Meira Halacha properly, unless he comes from Shevet Levi or Shevet Yisachar. Why so? The pasuk says, it says about Shevet Levi, Yemaish Rabbeinu says, Yoiru, they will be Meir Halacha Mishpatach, your laws to Yaakov. And by Yisrael it says, Ubnei Yisachar Yoide Evina Leitim. From the Bnei Yisachar, they are the ones who know the right times, Lodas Mayasel Yisrael, what the Jews should do. In fact, the Gemara of Yehuda, what about Shevet Yehuda? Nami Dechsev, it says by Yehuda Mechoikeki. It says you make laws. So the Gemara answers, I'm not talking about making laws. We're talking about being the great level of coming out to the correct conclusions. Is what we're referring to. Rashi says, Lahirais kedas ukahalacha. I don't know what the double lashon is, but to pass and lahirais, to teach kedas, like the law, ukahalacha, and like the halacha. Okay? That you only get from Levi and Yisachar. Now, of course, there are individuals in every shevet that could reach Hayrah. So either we're talking about specifically here someone who is a Tzumar Rabbanon, a young Talmud Chacham, not a Vasik, or yeah, that's the Ben Baba. Let me show you later. Yeah, the Marsha asks about David HaMelech. You know, it says about David HaMelech, the halacha is kamaisei b'chol makom. The halacha follows David in every place. So the Marsha says, yeah, that's because he was a melech. But the Shar Chacham in Shevet Levi and Shevet Yehuda were not zeicher for such a thing. Others, right, because he was so humble. And Beis Hillel as well, who came from Shevet Yehuda, were zeicher to that. Or we're talking about a young bacher who is sharp, and not you won't find in other shorten that are able to be married halacha, except when they get to the proper age. But from Shevet Levi and Yisachar, you will find it. Okay, Shmak. Sagt die Gemara weiter. Amar Rav Yochanan, ein mefaisen al tamid shel ben arbai. What do you do when it comes to the tamid shel ben arbai? We didn't find, this seems to be the last pies. We said there are four lotteries. So what about the tamid shel ben arbai? What do you do for that? So Rabbi Yochanan says there was no pies on the tamid shel ben arbai. Ella, rather, koyin shezacha by b'shachris, zecha by arvis. The koyin who did it in the morning, whatever job he got in the morning, he got to do the same job in the afternoon. It was a day pass. Wow. Okay. Meisvei, effective Gemara. Keshem, shemefeisen shachris, kach mefeisen ben arbayim. We have a brayso that says not like that. The brayso says you do a pice in the morning, you do a pice in the afternoon. That's referring to the Ketores because you couldn't have someone doing the Ketores twice. So for that, they needed a new lotto. The language of loy to him is shach to the carbon tamid, but not to the Ketores, which would be feminine. Aim Allah, it should say for her. So you see that they were doing a pais for the carbon shel tamid in the afternoon as well. V'hatanya, keshem shemefaisen loy shachris, kach mefaisen loy arvis, ukeshem shemefaisen lo shachris, kach mefaisen lo arvis. They have another brayso that spells it out explicitly that there were two paisos daily for the tamid and for the Ketores. Amar Rav Shmuel, but that's a kasha on Rav Yochanan. Amar Shmuel, Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak, hacha b'Shabbos askinan. Correct. These braysos talking about Shabbos. During the week, you'd only have one pice. And whoever was in the morning got to do it in the afternoon as well, except for the Ketores. And on Shabbos, there you needed to have a second pice. You know why? Because the guys that worked in the morning did not work in the afternoon. A new crew came in. Says the Gemara b'Shabbos askinan hoil u'mishmaros mischadshos, because the mishmaros would be renewed. The new chevra would come in on Shabbos. And according to the Havamim that we thought that this was during the week, the Fishlu Paises. It's like we got way too many lotteries going on. Says the Gemara, no, the Havamim was Maisi Kul Mitzafra. Everyone would come in the morning. Asu, they'd come. The Zachi Veshachas Zachi, the Zachi Aba Arvis Zachi. Meaning, there were four gatherings for lotteries that were done during the day, but they did two lottos for the Carbon Shel Tamid Shel Shachar and one for the Tel Shabbat Bayim, the same for the Ketores. Gewaltig. Sagt die mal weiter. Harvi Chadashim im Yeshan v'chulei. Says the Gemara Masnisen like Rav Elazar ben Yaakov. Our Mishnah that says you did a pious for whomever to bring the Evarim from the Kevesh to the Mizbeach is not like Rav Elazar ben Yaakov. It's not. Because we learned in a Mishnah, Rav Elazar ben Yaakov Omer Hamala Evarim LaKevesh. One who brings the Evarim up onto the ramp. Who Mala Islam Mizbeach? He is the one who brings it onto the Mizbeach. So he holds whoever did it in the morning and put it onto the Mizbeach. What happened was you'd bring it, they wouldn't go all the way up in the morning. When they'd lay it down, it would be from halfway down. So they leave it there and then they'd come up. I just want to reiterate here, one of the miracles we found in the Beis HaMikdash that there were no flies in the Beis HaMikdash. Now, if you leave meat out all day, there should be flies. That's a miracle. So they left the meat out on the kevesh. I don't know why they did that. Why couldn't you just bring it up? I don't know. So many questions. Okay. So Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Omer Hamala Ivarim L'Kevesh Hu Malo Islam Mizbech. So we have machlokes in our Mishnah and Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. In fact, the more b'may kamifli. What is the machlokes? Mar so b'choivam hadras melech. When the multitudes of people bring a glory to the king. In the place of the Shechina, it's not derech eretz. It seems like I was happy to bring it up, but I'm not going all the way. It's not derech eretz. So the person who brought it to the kevesh should bring it up all the way. In the Indian of Rabbi Hadras Melech, you have a stark kasha. Do you remember we asked why do you do so many paisos? Why do we do so many lotteries? Just do one. The Gemara answered. Because we wanted to be energy, action, regesh in the Beis HaMikdash. So why don't we just apply that pasuk here, or apply the pasuk of Berevam Hajjus Malach there? So the teretz says the Tosfos Yom Tov, the Indian of Berevam Hajjus Malach applies when you're doing something b'shutvus. I'll give you an example. We say the minhag of the Litvisha is to one person makes Kiddush Friday night, and this might see everybody else. The Chassidim, they have everybody makes their own Kiddush, everybody makes their own Hamaitzi, but by the Litvisha, one person makes Kiddush, and it's brought down because of Beroiv Am Hajjus Melech. By Megillah lining, there's an need to go to a shul that has a lot of people listening to the Kriyas of Megillah because Beroiv Am Hajjus Melech. Those are all scenarios where we're all being mashtatev. We're joining together in one person reading. I mean, that one person is being mitzi all of us. So when there's some type of a shutvis going on, that's called beroiv am hadras melech, as opposed to by the pais where there's no shutvis. We're just giving out roles. There's a gathering. That's not called beroiv am hadras melech. Geshmak. So like the Amarava, later of Eliezer ben Yaakov Islay Rabbi Yehuda, the later of Yehuda Islay Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Yehuda, if you recall from the top of Chav Hamad Beis, is of the opinion that there was no pious for the machta, for the person bringing the coals on the from the Mizbeach Achitzon to the Mizbeach Pnimi for the Ketores. So there was not a independent pious for him. That was his opinion, and Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says there was no pious for the person that was being mala from the kevish to the mizbeach. So the Gemara says that they do not hold of each other. You know why? It says the Gemara di'im kain batzu the paisis, because if they held of each other, then we're going to be missing paisis. V'imishkach, okay, you'll be missing because you're going to be short one. V'imishkachas, meaning it makes sense that Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov would hold, if he holds that you don't have this fourth pious, so he'd have to hold that there was a pious for the machta. That would give us 4. And if Rabbi Yehuda, who says there was no pious for the machta, he would say that there would be a pious for the avarim, so that would give us 4. Good. If you were to find a Tana that holds that there were 5 lotteries done in the morning, that would like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. That would not be like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and that would not be like Rabbi Yehuda. Gewaldig. Now, I just wanted to mention that this third pious that we mentioned today, Chadashim Ketores, was done on as well, even though it was the Kohen Gadol who would do Bimakta the Ketores. He did all the Avodas of the Yom, but they would do a pious to bring the shovel, which is fascinating because even if you hold it every other day, there was no need for a pious because it wasn't such a you were like a second hand. But on Yom Kippur, when you're the second hand to the Kohen Gadol, or you're the only one really working besides the Kohen Gadol, that was something that everybody wanted in, and therefore they did that pious as well. Okay? Geschmack. Hope to see you tomorrow evening. Have a wonderful day.